Oh my god, his face is just, please kill me now.
This is my kitty. I'm showing my kitty on camera for those of you listening. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the PokeBeach.com podcast. My name is John. I go by Water Pokemon Master on the website. And I am joined by Kitty and the wonderful
Justin Basil of justinbasil.com. My cats are currently not in my hands.
He doesn't want to be on camera. Okay, go
No,
play
he
Kitty.
doesn't.
Go play Kitty.
Maybe Toph will join us later.
During the pandemic, I was remodeling the house and I broke open the bathroom wall, and guess who I found in there?
Kitty.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the Instagram reels.
Yeah, on the Facebook post. There had been a monster under the house terrorizing me for months and months, and every time I would go under the house in the crawl space to look for it, could never find it. And then it scared away the plumber when he went down there at one point. He said something was hissing at him. And it turns out the mom cat was stuffing her kittens around the bathtub under the house. So when I would go into the bathroom or be in my bedroom, which is adjacent to the bathroom, I'd hear all these sounds at night. And it turns out it was him and his brothers.
That's cute.
Yeah. So that's how I got him. He's a pandemic baby. But anyway, so we have two sets to talk about this week. Should we start with Temporal Forces?
Sure, let's start with Temporal Forces.
All right, so our March set is going to be named Temporal Forces, our 5th Scarlet and Violet set. It'll release on March 22nd, with pre-releases taking place from March 9th to the 17th. In the past, we would normally get this set in February. We always have like February, May, September. Bleh. What is the pattern?
August,
November. But because we had Paldean Fates this year, we're getting it pushed to March. So, but we should be back on schedule with May's SV6 set. So we for sure know that our Temporal Forces set is going to be based on Japan's upcoming Wild Force and Cyber Judge sets, which will be their dual sets releasing on January 26th. Their beginning of the year dual sets. These sets we speculated could feature Walking Awake EX and Iron Leaves EX, which are based off Suicune and Virizion, the Paradox Pokemon. And our set will also probably be based off the two starter deck and build sets that are coming out, featuring Koraidon EX and Miraidon EX, which will be ancient and future Paradox Pokemon. Those are releasing in Japan alongside Wild Force and Cyber Judge. So we for sure know our Temporal Forces will be based off what I just mentioned. Our set could also be based off Japan's upcoming Crimson Haze set, which actually has the exact same release date as Temporal Forces, which is March 22nd. The last two English sets we had also contained recently released Japanese sets that comprised them. So this could be the start of a pattern where we're seeing our English sets be synced with the Japanese sets, but this is all speculation and we really don't know. And I know you have, you're thinking, Justin Basil, that it's not going to be based off Crimson Haze. So I understand your point. So why don't you say it for our viewers?
So most likely the beginning of your set, I would expect this mostly to be very similar to the Ice Rider and Shadow Rider sets that came out for that ended up becoming Chilling Reign.
Yeah.
Or even the two that were battle styles ultimately, right? Mm-hmm. So the beginning of the year, it was two fairly large sets, the battle style sets. Was it Rapid Strike Master, Single Strike Master? They were like 100 cards each roughly. I would expect the Iron Leaves and the Walking Awake sets to be probably somewhere in that range, maybe 85 to 95, or maybe upwards of 100 cards each, and then they'll incorporate some promos and random stuff, right? I don't think they're going to incorporate Crimson Haze, in part because that would bloat the set even further, and if they shrunk those sets to make them smaller, then they would be undersized for a beginning of year pair of sets in Japan. Not to mention, on top of everything else, if they're like you're talking about how they've been syncing up, but we as we're going to see in a little bit with Shining Fates with Paldean Fates, it's all the same thing.
They're all so confusing.
It's all generic
I can't
garbage.
keep any of these shiny sets straight.
as we're going to see here with Paldean Fates, so they're already not lining up with their release. So if it were a lined up release, then we would be getting
well, but that's
Fates already.
I agree with your other points for sure, but it's also a different case because Paldean Fates is like a special set, so they sometimes shift things around because of our special sets. But I agree with everything else.
Right, but if they're gonna shift our stuff around for the special sets, then they're also going to bump the release of the early sets in the year. Like I could see them once again syncing back up what they've done with especially Paradox Rift, but I do not think that Temporal Forces is going to contain Crimson Haze.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
Now, is there a possibility? Sure, whatever.
Yeah.
They can do literally whatever they want, but I don't think it's very likely.
All right, so we have explained both sides of the coin, so we shall see what happens. But it would be cool if we started to sync our main sets every 3 months, where...
I mean, that would be great, but they need to first get the sets lined up in such a way that doesn't cause us to have our rotation super late into the year like this. Like the fact that we're having our rotation in April based on the release of Temporal Forces legality date, so it'd be April 5th if that's the date.
Yeah.
That's super late. And that again, that's the legal date for Temporal Forces.
That's Paradox Rift having 6 months of its own.
Yeah, it's basically a 6 month Paradox Rift format, which means that Paradox Rift will literally go for half of the year before we start changing our format up significantly. Because let's be frank, Paldean Face is not going to change the meta very much.
No. And speaking of the rotation, we should be getting that in the next week or two, I think, the announcement of that.
We should be getting the news soon. Probably, next week or two at the
latest.
At the outset.
Based on previous patterns. We can only ever, when we're speculating, we can only ever go off precedent and patterns. So, sometimes we're wrong, and that's just part of it. I mean, it's clearly speculation, and we're just trying to... We always, on the website, we try to contextualize things within established patterns and precedent so that people can kind of understand how the company thinks. And, of course, sometimes we're wrong, but it's all speculation. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, shall we talk about the big news of the week, which is...
The value of all those Shiny Treasure EX cards?
Yeah, Shiny Treasure EX has 170 secret rares, and you can see all of them on the website. There are quite a bit. There's a lot.
Yeah, it's a bit excessive.
I think the thing that caught people's attention first, is that there are so few art rares in the set, or as we call them in English, illustration rares. There are only 4. And they're shiny Pokemon. So I think that kind of caught people off guard. They expected there to be more. And then...
And one of those is cut in English. We already know it's
a
cut
promo.
The ETB promo.
Yeah, Mimikyu will be the Elite Trainer Box promo. And then there's only 8 illustration rares, which is also a bit of a surprise. And then
only 3 special illustration rare Pokemon.
Right. And then the ultra rares, or as we call them in English, hyper rares, the gold cards, they're 6, and they have color shifted artwork, which is interesting.
They look very green there, but on the video they didn't look quite so green.
No, they're blue. Those scans are green, but in the video you can see here the texture, the raised texture we were talking about in previous episodes that'll be in our Paldean Fate set. It's basically like a when they stamp cards with the gold stamps, that's kind of what it is. They do it along the outlines of the Pokemon's artwork, so you can see it's raised a bit here. But
I doubt it will be that pronounced in the international print. The TPCI prints tend to not look very good compared to the Japanese prints.
Yeah, the production techniques differ a lot, so we'll see if we get the same effect. But in terms of this set... Oh, and then I'm also going to mention that this set is confirmed to have God Packs in it again. So you can get... a boost. I think there might be 2 configurations of God Packs for this, actually. I have to look into it more. But so far we've confirmed that you can open up a 10-card booster pack of this set. You can get 6 regular shiny cards, or as we call them, baby shinies. You can get 3 shiny EX full art cards, and then 1 illustration rare shiny card. So, and then there might be 1 other configuration that I think I saw on social media, but I'll have to look into that.
And just
But
real quick to clarify something for people who aren't versed in the ways of describing cards,
yes,
because I've seen some confusion about this for on in the comments and stuff. Babies, when we're referring to baby shinies, it's a game term. Babies are basically anything that's not a multi-prizer.
yeah.
So
Which are these
no
right
Pokemon EX, right? Yeah, they're the ones that aren't multi-prizers. They're referred to as babies because they're worth fewer prize cards. They're not as
Yeah.
grown up.
They're not babies like
Not as-
Pichu or
they're not as
Cleffa.
big age. Yeah, not no, we're not talking about baby Pokemon literally in the Cleffa.
It's just a fan. It's a fan term that just refers to, you know, like you said, they're not multi-prize cards that give up.
Like for example, there's Quaquaval EX, but there's also Quaquaval, the baby Quaquaval,
Yeah.
as we would refer to it, the one that is not a multi-prizer.
Right. So in terms of the artwork, I asked on Twitter what people's favorite artworks were. And so here we are with the full art cards. We have Judge, Nimona, Clive, and Students in Paldea, which has 2 prints. Nimona won that contest. People like, I guess, her the best out of
No way.
a ton of
The
votes.
underage female won. I'm so surprised.
And then Clive was second. And then closely followed by Judge, and then Students in Paldea. I kind of like Students in Paldea better, actually. I like that it has different. I like that it has different characters on it.
I don't know. I felt kind of underwhelmed by the Students in Paldea artworks, honestly.
Really? Oh, I like it when they have group
Yeah.
shots like this.
I like the group shots. They're just not really fun the way they framed these and set them up.
Oh, you mean like the layout?
Yeah, the art itself just doesn't do it for me.
Oh, that's fair. And then in terms of the special illustration rares, Twitter only allows you to put 4 options, but I left out Iono on purpose because she was obviously...
She would win.
Yeah, she would obviously win. But other than Iono, we had Clive having won the contest because his artwork is just so cool. It features all these different trainers and Pokemon, and it's in like a cutesy, simplified style. It has a lot of personality.
I'm not fond of the style, to be honest. Is this artist? Is this who I think it is? Let me look real quick.
It's Taiga Kayama. You're looking at their previous cards.
Yeah, if it's the person I think it is.
Well, I think it's kind of cute.
It is not the person I think it is. That's good. But yeah, I just don't know. I don't like that style.
And then
Like it's good that there's variation. but I
yeah.
just don't
Well,
like
that's
it.
what I like actually, because yeah, I guess when I first saw it, I didn't like it either, but it's more of in the context of what we're used to that I like it because it's different. So I think that's what you just said is actually what I was feeling was it's just a different style. So that's what I like about it. And then Penny came in second when we're not counting Iono. And I think that might be because of Umbreon and Eevee in the artwork. I don't know.
I think Umbreon had a hand in it. I think
Yeah.
Penny's a fairly well loved character too.
Yeah, that's true. And then all of these cards have and then after Penny it was Nimona, and then
I actually really like that artwork for Nimona too. I like the action style that it's got for it.
yeah, I like that too. And then these special illustration rares of the trainers all feature Pokeballs in the middle, except Clive for some reason. So that's cool. Synchronicity between different
Clive
artists.
is not the trainer.
Yeah.
Clavel is the trainer. That's why.
Yeah. In the games, he's in disguise. He's what's his name? Clavel. You just said it. Clavel. Is it Clavel? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Oh, I kept saying Clavel. And then, yeah, as we mentioned before, Iono is clearly in first place because people really like her as a character. It's a playable card, and yeah, so it goes without saying.
She's extremely playable. Like that by itself is going to win her over, or she's going to win people over with that alone.
And let's, in terms of the shiny Pokemon special illustration rares, we had Mew EX, Charizard, Terra EX, and Gardevoir EX. Mew EX won the poll. Again, it's a simplified style. What I wanted to point out here is that Mew is in a bubble, and there's nothing in the video games that has Mew associated with bubbles. But the artist who made this was clearly inspired by the first Pokemon movie or Pokemon Snap, which came out later, which had Mew in a bubble. So I think it's interesting now that we're getting people that grew up with Pokemon that are referencing like their childhood memories of those Pokemon. At least that's what I think is happening here. Because again, there's nothing in when Creatures, works with the artists, they send them reference material. They send them like models and references and stuff. But this is the artist is somebody probably who saw the first movie and remembers that Mew's introduction was, in the water coming out in a bubble. So yeah, I think that's cool.
Yeah, and this artist has been fairly popular on Instagram and social media in general.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
This is their first card. I will say that I'm not the biggest fan of it. I feel like I'm not the biggest fan of everything today.
I think you don't like
it's the simplified style. I don't like it.
But I think that's fair though. I think there's a lot of people who don't like simplified styles. Like I don't necessarily like that style offhand either. Like I love Mitsuhiro Arita's artwork. I love realistic, detailed artwork. But again, like it's something that stands out. So I think that's why I like it a little bit. But yeah, like this Mew, I could have done this in Microsoft Paint. So,
I mean, you're a better artist than I then, because I couldn't have done that in Paint.
I mean, I if I really tried, I could. And then Charizard surprisingly was in last place here. Gardevoir was second place. That artwork.
See, that does surprise me, because I wrote a whole article about how much I hated Charizard and how it was overloved by TPCI, and I actually think this is my favorite of the three. This art is very cool.
I do love it. I think I'm tied between Gardevoir and Charizard here. But I think because our website has a lot more dedicated hardcore fans, I think they're just sick of Charizard, so that's why they voted.
No, I get that completely.
I'm sick of Charizard. I'm sick of Pikachu actually too. Although I do love the shiny Pikachu.
Do you have any idea how tempted I am to redo that article about Charizard getting too many damn prints?
Yeah, well. It gets it all the time. So Mew EX won this, and then Special Illustration Rare Gardevoir, and then Charizard. And then in terms of the 4 shiny illustration rares, Palafin came in first place. I think because it's something that stands out, but it also is stylish. He looks like a villain, like a Batman villain or something here.
It's just a cool art.
Yeah.
It's a great art.
It shows off his like superhero motif. So there's that. And then in second place was Mimikyu, which is Mitsuhiro Arita. It has the old woman in it sewing something. And then Palmy was third, but tied pretty closely with Wug Trio. I didn't really like Wug Trios, but Palmy is cute.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really like Palmy's shiny. But
looks fire red here.
Yeah, maybe it's just the card, like the scan. Maybe it's just the scan we have of the card, but I don't know. I don't really love the way that one looks.
Yeah. So those were the polls, and then a news story I posted last night was I've never really done this before, but it was So our next news story is the top 15 most valuable cards from Shiny Treasure EX. This is based off auction websites. So I'm not posting it because of the pricing. I'm not like a pricing person who looks at Pokemon cards as how much they're worth, but it was more of in terms of what people are interested in, their initial interest in this set. And of course, Iono tops the list. And then we have Charizard.
Before we get too far, we should point out these prices come from the Japanese market, Mercari, not from international eBay. So if you're going to complain about how these don't match eBay's prices, that's why, because it's not eBay.
Yeah, so these are a Japanese auction website called Mercari. So we're talking specifically about the Japanese market, like the Japanese fans in Japan that are buying these. So which sort of leaves out international people. So this gives us an idea of what the Japanese are most interested in paying for. And of course, like you have to account for the rarity of the cards, which is also why that's part of it, because like you're not going to pull in a special illustration rare of Iono as easily. So it's going to, cost more here. But anyway, so Iono tops the list, followed by Charizard EX special illustration rare. And of course, I think that's because a lot of casual fans are very interested in Charizard. and not so much hardcore fans because they're sick of it, I think.
So I don't
Sorry,
know,
can you go through these?
$405. Yeah, so I don't know, $405. Charizard, 203. So third place is Gardevoir EX, the special illustration rare, this special art rare for them. 115. Gardevoir, of course, we saw earlier, looks great. Penny, unsurprisingly, in fourth place, $109. Also, not very surprising at all. The art also looks really good.
Has
Umbreon
Umbreon.
it. Umbreon is a very big fan favorite. Mew EX, obviously you like Mew EX, or at least the art for Mew EX, because it's that simple style and it's different, it's unique. Clearly, it's popular there too. Mew is also a fan favorite. I liked it a lot more before Mew VMAX became a thing. That card has soured my opinion of Mew.
And that was that's $95. And then the first actual baby shiny is Pikachu and Mimikyu.
No way.
They're or no, sorry. Mimikyu is down here as the shinies, but the only two shinies that made the top 15 list were Pikachu and Mimikyu. Pikachu's number 6, Mimikyu's number 15.
Charmander.
Oh, is Charmander in there? Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
and
Charmander is.
Sorry, I wrote this story last night, and I already forgot. Charmander's in there, and actually the only ultra rare that made the list is Miraidon EX, which just goes to show people, I guess, don't really like it as much, or maybe they're easier to pull. Although in the box openings I watched, it was like maybe it was like 1 out of 150 packs I saw when they pulled. That's only one sample size that they pulled Miraidon EX, so it was clearly the ultra rares were clearly the rarest here. But I think people probably don't like the style as much, and so they're not running for them to auction websites to buy them.
I think people are kind of over the gold cards.
Yeah.
And I think these were supposed to revitalize the way the gold cards looked, and I don't think it's succeeding.
But you know what they're gonna. Oh, go ahead.
I will say that the Miraidon EX being the most popular one isn't that surprising, though, because of how much success the card has seen in its deck currently.
Yeah. And don't be surprised if this gold effect, gets introduced on like special illustration rares for like the sort of Crown Zenith set of this era. I would not be surprised.
Yeah, we'll see.
Like if they combine this gold effect with like Mew right here, putting it on the border of this somehow. Shiny version. Or doing a different art of that. I don't know.
I would prefer a different art, but I think they kind of have to have a very simple art with the gold styling.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else we want to talk about actually, or
that Miraidon it's still the same art as the full art from Scarlet Violet base set, is it not?
Yes.
So they're once again reusing.
They just color shifted them. Yeah, that's what I was mentioning earlier. They just color shifted them. Yeah. In terms of comparing, I guess if we want to talk about how successful or what the fan reception of Shiny Treasure EX is, I would say compared to our end of the year special sets, it's a disappointment. This new Shiny Treasure EX set, because we just had Crown Zenith in January / V-Star Universe last December, and we had all these all these illustration rares in it, as you can see here. We had some that 9 of them that had connected artwork. We had a bunch of special illustration rares, as you can see here. We had a lot of full art cards, and then the gold cards had the the fantastic illustrations here, the Dialga, Palkia, Giratina.
That's how you do a gold. That's how you do a gold.
Right. And then that's why I'm saying like maybe the Crown Zenith set of this era will have like these, but gold bordered somehow, like we're starting to see on these new ultra rares. But so in terms of end of the year special sets, I would say Shiny Treasure EX is being seen as sort of a letdown to fans that I've seen talking about it in the comments. But in terms of like the shiny sets we've gotten in the past, it's a little bit equivalent. Well, maybe not, because we had for Sword and Shield, we had Shining Fates, where did it go? Shining Fates, which I would say is kind of on par with this set, or maybe this set's a little bit better. It has the baby shinies in it, as you can see here, and it had
I think
the
I would
V
say they're
card.
roughly on par with each other.
Yeah.
I think the problem that both Shining Fates and Paldean Fates have is they're
They're
coming out
early.
too early. They're
Yeah.
too early in the block. Yeah, they're coming out too early.
So we
they
had
can't really capture the block well.
right. So, but I think they're doing that because we're gonna get a sort of Crown Zenith set at the end that's gonna encompass the whole block, have a couple shinies maybe, and some really cool artworks. So I think that I don't know. I think maybe that's what their plan
I think
is.
the really cool artworks can be shiny. I mean, they proved that they can do cool shiny artwork with
Right,
the
right. So
Charizard,
that's
with the
right.
Gardevoir.
Right. So what I'm saying is that our Crown Zenith set of this era will encompass the whole era and then also have shiny Pokemon on top of it. I think that's what they'll maybe do. And then in terms of, so we had, when we're comparing Shiny Treasury X to Shining Fates, which was the Sword and Shield era, and then Hidden Fates, which was the Sun and Moon era. Hidden Fates encompassed, as you just said, a lot more cards from the era, so a lot more memorable and cool shiny Pokemon that they could pick for that set. So, but again, that was what, 3 generations ago. So, I think they've kind of decided now that they're going to do a shiny set a little earlier in the era, and then maybe do a, end of the generation big fantastic set. So I think that's why they're doing this now. They're going to have like a sort of shiny set to whet your palate at the beginning of the era, and then a really big set at the end, which will probably have shiny Pokemon this time, I imagine, so that can then top Crown Zenith. So yeah, that's, I think,
What I wish they would do, and I know they'll never do this because it's not how they work financially, but I wish they would scrap shiny sets altogether, and then in regular sets have a very small chance that one of the regular prints would be shiny color.
that would be
So
cool.
if you pull a Charmander looks they love to do the same art. They love reusing art. So same art, but the new shiny color.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool too. But I kind of like the shiny sets, actually. I know people tend not to like them because they feel the artwork is like simplistic.
It is.
But I think they're kind of cute. Like I would really want to collect like from this set. I wouldn't collect the whole thing, but I would collect like the first gen Pokemon maybe. Like I'd get Charmander, Pikachu, Staryu, and Starmie. Oh my god, I love Staryu and Starmie here because I had a shiny Staryu in Ruby and Sapphire, so I absolutely love that, and Palafin. So I think like I would collect a couple of singles from this set. The Pikachu, the Voltorb, but yeah, I mean
I'll pick up some singles too, but I just there'll be singles for the collection, and maybe some if they reprint like Iono in this set as a base rare, maybe I'll pick that up. I just don't. This isn't a set that makes me go, "Hey, I'd kind of like to open that." Like Crown Zenith, I'm gonna keep going back to Crown Zenith because the art was so good on there. I don't mind opening a Crown Zenith pack, even though the base set is bad, because the art is cool in the rest of the set. Whereas with this, it's like I could pull a Kilowattrel, which was my favorite Paldean Pokemon. I could, or I could just buy the dang card on a third party vendor. Like I don't have to open hundreds and hundreds of packs to pull the one or two cards that I actually care about in the set.
Well, we also have to remember that this set also serves as, I think what a lot of fans maybe don't remember is that this set is supposed to be a reprint set that, here's the base set right here, that allows Japanese fans to, because every booster pack comes with an EX. So it's an easy way for them to get all of the EXs from the last year to build a deck, or maybe people that are casual fans haven't kept up with all the releases, so they can just go to this set to get those cards. So I think it's supposed to be more of like a set to allow people to get the cards, and then they just throw in the shinies to make it a little bit more special for collectors. At least that's my opinion about it.
I get that for the Japanese release. I understand that fully. That's not questioning that. I get it. That's how the Japanese market works. It makes sense for them. But what I question is how it comes here. I much preferred the whole trainer gallery method.
Oh, I
where they
see.
basically
Oh,
break
what?
the setup.
Oh, so you're saying you think they should break this up and put the shinies into the sets as we go?
Into just dump them
I
into the
thought.
sets.
Oh, I thought you were saying you just wish sets in general would have like shiny versions of the cards in the set. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean,
you're
I
saying
wish they
should do
would.
this. Oh, you're saying
Well,
they
I
should
mean,
do this.
think
as
about
they
it.
go.
They have these. They know these cards probably a year in advance. Like the Chen Pao artwork that we saw in the deck.
Mm-hmm.
Like that didn't come out until this set, and that came out like what 6 months ago for us.
Yeah.
They know these cards are already exist. They know they have the art for them way in advance.
Well,
they can dump them into our sets.
We don't know for sure though, because they might they might make those cards for the English market first and then save them for the Japanese market later. Or I don't know if they're planning it that far ahead sometimes. But actually, I think that is actually a good idea though. I like that idea of having a couple of these in the
sets that they come out in.
like what they did with the Galarian Gallery.
Yeah,
or the trainer gallery,
or not even, yeah, which however you want to call it, right? That would be fine. So like if you opened 151 and you get to your what should be an uncommon card, but oh look, it's a shiny Voltorb. You got a shiny Voltorb instead of a regular one. That would be great.
Yeah, I love that idea. That would be really cool. And
because
it'd be
then it's at least
it's like
different.
the video games where you actually get
it's like, oh, I pulled a shiny.
Yeah.
Yes, you did. You pulled a shiny.
Oh yeah,
and then
I like
there's
that
that
idea.
element of randomness.
I really like that idea. I didn't think about that before. Yeah, that'd be cool. We should send this video.
I'm sure logistically that would be an absolute nightmare to set up, but they could do it.
They watch this site and they read this website, so they've told me that many times. So maybe we
just have to have them listening to the podcast, and we'll be set.
I don't know if they're listening to it.
No, they're like, oh, that Justin Basil guy's complaining again. Just shut it off.
Well, I don't think you're complaining. I think you're just explaining your points and the pros and cons of everything, and that's what we're here for. So we speculate and we talk about the pros and cons. So, okay. So is that it? Is that all we want to say? I think
so. Is that everything?
I believe so. It's been such a blur of a week, actually. Oh, what was the Snorlax thing? Okay, so Grant posted this how to be.
I kind of wanted to bring that up too, but you were getting ready to end. Yeah.
Grant posted an article about how to beat Snorlax stall, and I saw something on Twitter. Again, I'm not a competitive player, so what is this Snorlax situation going on?
Okay, so I'm going to explain, and I'm going to try to not be condescending when I do it. Okay.
Sounds juicy.
So, yeah, it's not kind to newer players, unfortunately, and it's not their fault.
Oh, okay. Explain.
Okay, so the last roughly 4 years of the trading card game, the game has basically devolved to pick your color, here's your beat stick.
Wait, what? Pick your type.
Pick your color, your type in this case. Here's your beat stick, and every deck has ultimately been a different color of a same beat stick. They've been very, very similar to one another with very little variation.
What is a beat stick? You mean like the order of operations?
Here's just boom. Here's your damage. Like everything has been boom damage. There's your deck.
Oh, okay.
There's no actual strategy. It's just this is your prize mapping done. You take your 2, your 2, your 2, your 1, your 3, your 2, whatever your prize mapping needs to be for this matchup. That's your game. And a lot of the decks, most even, have been like that throughout the last literally since Team Up released.
Okay.
Right. Team Up still had fringes of the strategic error in it because it hadn't quite killed them off yet. But that is where it started to just kind of crash. And especially during the VMAX era, it was literally here's your color, here's your beat stick, boom. And so a lot of players that came into the game during that era, where the game was basically pick your color, beat stick, are not used to dealing with what we would call less traditional win methods, with less traditional deck strategies. Pokemon trading card game has multiple ways to win, right? You can take your 6 prize cards, you can knock all of your opponent's Pokemon out, or make it so they have no Pokemon in play.
Deck out.
Or your opponent can deck out, right? Now, any of those ways, getting to that state, you have won legitimately. And the game allows for you to get to those in many different ways. They print cards like Misfortune Sisters that mill cards out of your opponent's deck. That's fine. They set stuff up like this. This is how they design the game. The problem has been that because of how fast and heavy the formats have been the last several years, strategies like this have not been able to succeed or have found very little success during that time. Here and there, something will pop up very briefly and then burst because it can't. The strategy pops up and then it's like really quickly worked around. Snorlax has been a little bit more resilient. It's now showed up in multiple events. Snorlax is a stall archetype, and stall, basically what stall wants to do is say, okay, I don't want you to take prize cards. So my entire purpose is to avoid you knocking me out. And in the process, to make sure that I win, I'm going to drive you to deck out in a usually slower way than mill, but I'm going to try to get you to deck out in the process.
Explain what Snorlax does to the viewers.
So Snorlax basically says, you cannot retreat, right? So it has the ability, block. It says, as long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, your opponent's active Pokemon cannot retreat. Now, a lot of people see that, and if they came in during, especially if they came in during the tag team or VMAX era, they think, bad card, not any good. But now they're starting to realize, actually, it's a giant pain in the rear. Because what they can do is they can use cards to force something into your active spot that doesn't have any energy on it, and get it stuck there. And because they're using cards like Misfortune Sisters to mill all your items out of your deck, suddenly you don't have your switch cards either. Yeah. You can't switch, you can't retreat, you can't get whatever that bulky Pokemon is in the active spot out of it, and you now have no way to win, and you cannot take prize cards. They have successfully prevented you from taking prize cards. They have stopped your strategy and prevented you from winning, and because now you have tried desperately to get out of that and burned your deck down in the process, now you are on the verge of losing because you're going to mill out.
So
that's how that strategy works.
I see. Sorry, keep going.
No, go ahead.
No. Well, I was just seeing it here on Grant's article. Snorlax stall has a dirty little secret. However, it is actually a bad deck.
I don't know if I would say it goes so quite that far. Grant's obviously a very good player.
Grant said if every player knew how to play against it, it would rarely make day 2. It would never make top 8. And then
I agree with that statement. I do think that's the case, because that's the problem, is a lot of players do not know how to deal with stall. Because even players that have been around a while, they've forgotten how to deal with it. Now, the very best players, they know what they're doing. They're going to do it. The only reason they would not work against it is if they build a deck that's inherently weak to it, and they basically make a bad meta call. That happens. Everybody makes bad meta calls. It is what it is. But if you know what you're doing against stall, like Grant says, yes, it's not going to see remotely the same success that it's seen at LAIC or in Gdańsk, because, or even in was Brisbane over the weekend. Brisbane was the other regional, I think. Australia at the very least. These three events all had Snorlax seeing success because players were playing decks that either could not handle it or they were not playing in such a way to handle it. Now, part of that too is deck building has gotten to the point where it is very greedy, and so you're not running cards that would help you succeed against decks like these, and these decks take advantage of that. They say, well, curious, you're not running any way to get a card out of the active spot right now. I think I'll just stick something there that you don't like.
Oh, so they're not teching in cards that could help?
Decks are starting to tech them in, yes. Turo Scenario is one that's starting to pop up here and there. People are suggesting Minior. I don't think Minior is actually that good of a tech. Yes, it kind of sort of works, but it's not as good. But every deck will ultimately find its own way to deal with Snorlax. But the fact of the matter is, it is a very legitimate archetype to play in the game and to have to play against. And people, because they are not used to having to deal with decks like this, where it's not just, oh, I take your prize cards and you take your, I take prize cards, you take prize cards, I take prize cards, you take prize cards. It's not that kind of deck. And so they think, well, you're not playing the game. Yes, they are. They are playing the game. Now, for you, they might not be very fun to play against. I get it. But the fact is that they are playing the game. They are very much playing the game. You, as the player, have had your strategy stopped. And you need to find a way to get your strategy going again. That's how the game works.
I love how passionate.
That's how it works in aggro.
That's
how it works.
You get about this.
That's how, because I've been very quiet about this on Twitter because I didn't want to start I'm sure we're going to get comments on the Poke Beach and on this video,
no.
but
oh no.
because there are people that are very upset that this deck is succeeding.
We love comments though. I love reading comments, even when
People
they're spicy.
very much are upset that this deck is succeeding right now.
I just see your audio cut out for me for a second, and I just see you doing like you're so excited about this.
No, but it's true. People are super salty that Snorlax is seeing success because it's not an aggro deck. It's not taking prize cards, and so they think it's not playing the game, and they think it's not fun that it's not.
I remember
not playing
it.
The game.
I remember it like Worlds 2005 or 6 or something. One of my friends was playing like a Shedinja deck that I think like Shedinja it doesn't count as a knockout or something back then. I don't remember the card, and he kept playing till the end of like past time or something, and then they had to like change the rules or something after that point, or they didn't permit
they've had to change the rules a few times.
Yeah, so it's it's these are all legitimate strategies, and
they are.
As long as you're not cheating, anything's legitimate. Was there any drama this weekend, actually, or these past few weekends? Oh, did something happen with...
At LAIC, yes, there was drama at LAIC.
So was that slow play thing or toward slow playing thing?
So there was... I as a judge, I can't actually say very much about this. I am restricted on what I'm allowed to say. I will just state the fact. I will state the facts.
Well, yeah, I'm only ever interested in facts.
And I will not even commentate on how I feel about it one way or the other. The fact of the matter is that Tord Reklev was disqualified at LAIC. Mm-hmm. In his statement on Twitter, he basically said that he felt that the judging staff was keeping a closer eye on him than he felt was necessary, and he was quickly given a game loss and then later on given a disqualification for, quote, slow play. That's the situation.
Okay. So, well, he's a high profile player. So if they,
he's literally the runner-up for Worlds this year.
Right. So if they gave him that slow play warning, I mean, there must have been justification for that. They don't just give out.
That's the thing is according to his statement, there was no warning. It was immediately a game loss and then disqualification.
Yeah, I don't like that. I think people should get warnings. But I mean, the judging staff, I would imagine that they are, again, I don't know, but I imagine that they probably talked about it, and I don't think they just do things like that willy-nilly.
Well, disqualification does come from a head judge,
right?
Period. Yeah. It's going to come from the head judge. Yeah. They like you said, they don't disqualify willy-nilly.
Yeah.
So and another thing, and I will say this much. People are like, oh, the everything at LIC is terrible and they should just cancel the event because the staff sucks at LIC.
Isn't it the same
well, first
staff?
of all,
is like majority?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The majority of the staff is going to be the same. Yes, there are exceptions, but especially up higher up in the hierarchy,
like 80% of the staff is
it's
like
the same.
I mean, I've actually heard complaints about that sometimes where some judges are telling me they wish they could judge these kind of events, but it's always like the same people.
Right. Well, the higher ups are going to be the same because of the people with the experience. They know what they're doing.
Well, that sucks for Tord. But he's a successful player, so I'm sure this won't set him back.
No, he bounced back. He bounced right back. He was at Gdańsk and he played a very cool deck. He played I call it Lost Box with Tord's attackers because it's like he took the Lost Box engine and went, what spices do I have? Like just dumped some cards in there and made it work. He said he started playing it as like a meme, basically, just to kind of. He's like, yeah, this isn't too bad.
It's like
then he brought it
last week, and you were telling me what to do with the Thanksgiving leftovers. You said put it all into a soup.
Yeah,
it's like that.
That's basically what he did. He's like,
he was inspired by Thanksgiving.
I've got this turkey carcass. What can I make with it? Like it does very much feel like that, where it just took a deck, said, let me shove a different set of attackers in it, and let's see how it works. And it turned out not too bad. He did pretty well in Gdańsk with it.
Well, he is such a top player, and I think a lot of people look up to him and respect him, and he deserves that reputation. So maybe Pokemon wants him to be like a better example to people and not maybe slow play or whatever. If they determine that, like they're like, this is a top player who appears to be slow playing, so we don't want that to be who's stalling. So we don't want to allow that to be, somebody to get away with that who's that high up.
Yeah. There has been a lot of discourse online about Tord's pace of play, and especially about how he can kind kind of accordion his pace of play, if you will.
So he kind of
where he can
adjusts
make it-
to the situation.
where
basically?
he can to make it as slow or fast as he needs it to be.
Oh, I don't
And
like that.
I'm not gonna comment about that necessarily.
I mean,
as to whether or not it's true.
I've played competitively in different eras in the past, so I know a bit about that, and I don't like that. Like, that feels a little manipulative.
And some players are very upset that he does accordion that, but the accordion.
We should have like they should have like a. No, maybe that wouldn't work. Actually, I was gonna say like, I was gonna say that's not gonna work because like,
people are just bring chess clocks and they'll fix it. No,
that's not gonna work. Because
first of all, like the shuffling. Okay, you're shuffling. Okay, now you present your deck to your opponent to cut. They shuffle.
Whose timer is that?
Whose time is it? You don't know.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it's not actually.
So I think so. The only thing they can, the only thing they can do is to make a statement by saying like, here's a top player who we sort of punished for doing this, so don't do that. So I think that's their way of kind of setting a message.
The thing is, they haven't made any sort of statement.
Well, the statement is that. That is the statement.
But is it though? Is it actually a statement?
I think it is. I think that everybody heard about it. So I think it's like, well, people think twice about slow playing. At least I would hope so.
I don't really think so. I hate to say I don't really think so. I think they're going to slow play it if they think they can get away with it anyway. Especially with how much money is on the line right now, they're going to do whatever they can to work the rules to their advantage.
And back in my day, we were just competing for booster boxes. I think.
I mean, we still get booster boxes.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's all we were competing for. Although, actually, the first pre-release, actually, EX Ruby and Sapphire back in 2003, we got a $500. I won it. That's how I remember it. We got $500 certificate to use on PokemonCenter.com, and I bought all Skyridge booster packs. So,
wow.
Yeah. So back then, for 500 divided by what? How much were they? 315 back then, I think, something like that, or 329, or however much they cost. So
if they were still sealed now,
yeah. Well, I've never really sold anything anyway. I like to put it in my binders and stuff. But anyway, wow, we went into some interesting topics.
We went into a tangent.
Yeah. I just loved that. Sometimes you cut out for me and I just have to nod my head like I'm hearing what you're saying. But all I saw was your audio was cut out and you're just like spazzing out all over the place talking about Snorlax. That was
leave it to me to go off.
No, we're all
okay.
I like that you're passionate.
I want to wrap up. I want to wrap up the whole Snorlax discussion real quick.
Sure.
The basic thing is it's a boogeyman right now. Some people that aren't used to playing against that kind of deck are salty because they don't think it plays the game. It does play the game. You can beat it, learn how to beat it, or play a deck that can beat it. If you can't, you'll be fine. The format is not ruined because Snorlax exists.
And you can check out. I was gonna say, and you can check out Grant's article, I guess, if you want more information.
Yeah, absolutely check it out. If you're part of the PokeBeach article program, read it. If you aren't, get upped on it so you can read it. It's obviously good. It's a great article. Grant Manley's a great player. But yeah, like it's beatable. It's not the end of the world for the Pokemon trading card game. These alternate win condition decks, they're going to exist. You're going to have to learn to deal with them. Now, the format has slowed down such that they can succeed. There is going to be even more strategy in the game, and alternate win conditions are going to be part of that.
Mm-hmm. All right, I think you've made your points very clear.
Yes,
and I appreciate the passion and the arguments. And I'm glad you got it out. It felt like a psychology therapy session.
Almost.
All right.
Sorry, everyone, you had to witness that.
No, it's fine. We're just talking about Pokemon. It's not life and death. All right, so I think that's it for the week. Is there anything else we're going to get rotation probably in the announcement in the next week or two. And we're going to start to get Paldean Fates reveals for English, or more reveals, I should say. But yeah, and then I think next week we're going to get the reveal of that. What was that English product I talked about a few weeks ago? It was, let me look. I think
we're talking about the tins?
No, it was the I'm trying to look through the articles. Oh, the Combined Powers Premium Collection. I think we're gonna get that revealed next week. So we'll see what that is.
That would be interesting.
That might be the yeah, I'm not going to speculate because I'll probably be wrong. People will remember.
That's how it always feels. It's like, oh, John was wrong.
Yeah. Oh, I don't mind being wrong. It's like, it's fine to be wrong when you present your arguments and you make it clear it's speculation. I don't know why there's such a thing against being wrong. People are always so thing about it, and I'm like, no. If you present your arguments and in good faith and you make it clear that it's speculation, it's fine to be wrong. But anyway.
But John, don't you know that on the internet, being wrong is a severe crime that can only be punished by death?
Yeah, sometimes that's how it feels when people are commenting. It's like the internet these days, it's like everybody's trying to be like, I don't know, they're trying to get their brownie points against other people, or they're trying to feel anyway, I'm not going to talk about this.
It's a ramble.
It's a ramble.
It's a wrap.
All right. It is a wrap. Thank you for listening. Be sure to, for those of you who even made it this far.
Yeah. If you made it this far, comment Blossom in the comments, please.
Yes. I want to know that people are listening this far. It's probably like 3 people. Be sure to...
Blossom.
Hi, Blossom. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And... we will see you next week for whatever news we get. We're going to get English products, I think, but we'll see.
I hope
all right.
So.
Hope you all have a great week, and bye.
Bye.
Bye.